Hello everyone, Shawn Collier here with Johnston RV and another weekend workshop. And today we're going to be talking about used campers, what to look for when you're purchasing one, things to look out for, and just how the whole process goes. First thing I want to talk about is how a camper dealer obtains a used camper. A franchise dealer like us, we carry, all types of new campers, a bunch of Forest River product. Of course, our source of getting these used campers is trade-ins. Somebody comes in, they own a camper now, they want to get a new one, so they'll trade it in with us. And that's really the only way we obtain them. Every now and then we do consignments. That's pretty rare, but that's to help a customer sell their camper. And we'll do that for them too. So that's another way we get a small piece of our inventory. But the vast majority of it is going to be trade-ins. We figure out the value of it. We ask the customer what's wrong with it. There's a whole sheet that they have to fill out. And we ask them questions, and then we come up with a value of it. Then the day of, they come in and we do a quick run through of the camper. We make sure everything's working, and we kind of check for roofs and water damage and things like that. Remember, on the camper, a used camper, water damage is the number one thing you're looking out for. So we do that stuff, make sure everything's as they represented it, and then we move on. Then the camper, over the next 3 or 4 days, goes through a safety check process where we make sure there's no gas leaks, things like that. The appliances stay on for a day or two just to make sure they're all working properly. We get on the roof and spot seal anything that we see that might need to be taken care of. And then it gets cleaned up. Another type of dealership is just a used camper dealership. They don't sell new product. Their entire inventory is used. Those dealers get their inventory from dealers like us, the stuff we're not wanting to keep, we'll wholesale. They'll get it from auctions and things like that, which is usually the similar stuff. And then individuals wanting to sell their campers and stuff like that. A lot of times we get asked, what's wrong with the camper? And the answer is, we don't know on a used camper. That's kind of the bad part of buying a used camper. The new are nice, they're new. They come with a warranty to get the bugs worked out. When you buy a used camper, you are kind of assuming the responsibility of whatever's wrong with it. Let's go outside, and I'm going to show you some stuff to look for outside. All right, so here we are outside on the front of this unit, and under here is the propane tank, so feel free to take this off. It wouldn't, well, it's not gonna hurt nothing. And under here, usually you'll find propane cylinders. A lot of times when you use ones, they don't get traded in. That's not that uncommon, but that's something to look for. Also, you may, even if you do see some, you might have to end up buying some because a lot of times they're older, all rusted out, and if they're past the 10-year mark and hadn't been recertified, you'll have to get them recertified or just buy a new tank. So keep that in mind. That's an expense that could show up. You'll see surface rust here, and there's a little bit right there. That is not that big of a deal. I've read or seen stuff on the internet where that's a buyer beware thing. Some campers come from up north. Just like anything up north, you'll get more rust, and actually they all come from up north because they're built there. When they come down, they're covered in salt and all. We try to wash them off right away. But some surface rust here and up underneath the frame, that is not the end of the world. So a lot of dealers will scuff that rust off and paint it over. We do that a lot too, and it's not to hide anything. It's just to make your used camper look as new as possible. We try to do that, make it look good for you, and nobody likes to see rust. So that's an easy thing we can do to make them look a little better. Your tongue jack, that's an electric item. You might want to check to make sure it works. And then the battery is located back here too. A lot of times on your used campers, the batteries will need to be replaced. If the battery's good, we let it go. If it needs one, we try to put one on. Not everybody does that, so that's just something to look for when you're purchasing one. If there's any lights, make sure those work. These caps on a lot of campers over the years have had problems with paint peeling and fading, and just know that can be a pretty expensive repair if you want that to look as new as possible. Moving over to the side, The main thing you're looking for is water damage, stuff where water's gotten in and caused a problem. So spongy areas, things like that on these fiberglass campers. The metal ones, like over there, those are a little harder to tell, but the fiberglass ones will show you pretty quick with bubbles if it's been wet back here. But just looking at the general seals, how everything is, open all the compartments up, take a look. Just make sure everything's working as it should, that the door's closed tight. Look at the condition of the awnings. I've noticed over the years several instances where people have gotten where they're going and there was damage on the awning they didn't know about. We will help you get one, you know, if that's something you want to do, is replace it. But you can't come in and buy a 10-year, 15-year-old camper and expect it to be new. Open it up and see if there's any excessive wear and damage to it, to where it's not even usable. That's something you want to check out. Just make sure all your exterior lights are working. Try to turn those on. Tire condition's a big thing. Just make sure you've got good tread. Get the year date off of them and find out how old they are. The dealership can help you with that. Even if they look good, if they're 15, 20 years old, they need to be replaced, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes campers aren't used a whole lot. They're parked somewhere. As far as going down the road, they're not used a whole lot. They're parked somewhere and you won't see a lot of wear on the tires, but they're very old, so that's something to look out for. You do not want to go driving down the road or on a trip with tires that look good but they're 20 years old. It's time to replace them. And when you're checking on the tires and the dates and the conditions of them, always check your spare tube. Something like this has got a cover on it. That's very easy to take off. Check your spare tube, because you want to make sure you got a good spare every time before you leave a trip. And definitely when you're buying a camper, you want to know what you're getting. With the slides, you want to check these seals. This seal here is in very good condition. It feels very spongy and it's not dry and brittle. If you see one of these that's real frail and tough, it's not really doing its job anymore, and you're going to want to replace those seals before you go camping in it and have the slides out and maybe a rainstorm or something. You'll want to get that taken care of. The last thing I want to talk about outside before we get into the interior of this unit is the roof. The roof is going to be, like I say before, the roof, water, that's everything, okay, when you're shopping for a used camper. The problem with a roof is, expecting a roof, it's going to take a ladder. It's going to take somebody who's comfortable with getting up on a ladder and maybe even getting up on the roof physically. It's going to take that kind of inspection to really give you a feel for what's going on up there. A dealership may not allow that due to liability. We don't really allow it here. You may not be comfortable doing it yourself. There's a lot of scenarios that makes that kind of tricky, and why so many used campers get purchased with nobody ever looking up there. But that is the most important thing. So how you get around that, if you're not comfortable with it, if the dealership doesn't allow it, then you're going to need pictures of it. And what I recommend is getting those pictures with while you're there. Okay, you're going to want to see everything in 3 or 4 sections from instead of just an overall view. You're going to want to see fairly up close this section, then the middle section, the front section at least. We're going to do this camper and then one more, and on the other one I'm going to show you some deterioration on the seals, and you can see what to look for. This particular camper has had a roof replaced on it, so that's a good thing. But why did it need a roof? This camper's not that old, and my 2 examples, this is the newer of the 2, the other one's a little bit older. So this particular one, I dug into it for the purpose of this video. The roof was actually replaced here. It was cut from one end to the other from dragging under a branch or something sharp. The customer didn't catch that, and it has caused damage, and you can actually see that inside here. The good news is they replaced it on the outside. A new roof on a camper like this is a good thing, okay, other than the fact that something happened to make it need it. And unfortunately, this is the scenario where enough water got in here to cause the damage. Now, you first walk into this camper, you don't notice it, but when you look up here, there's you can actually still see the mold from when this happened, which can be cleaned up. It's not the end of the world. It's definitely time for you to stop, realize what you've seen, and assess it. Laminated campers, you've got your wallpaper, a little piece of wood, and then your wall, your foam, your aluminum studs, and then on the outside another little piece of wood and the fiberglass. That's how that works. So in here, that little piece of wood has collected moisture, warped right here, and caused a problem. Now, do I walk away and not buy this camper? Absolutely not. If it's in my price range, everything else I have seen is nice, it works. I've wanted a Rockwood my whole life. I've had 4 or 5 other campers, and I'm ready for a Rockwood. There's no reason to walk away with this camper with what we've got right here. Why? They fixed the outside. When I noticed the new roof, I got up there and I pounded on the roof and could tell everything was solid. They didn't just lay rubber over the roof and do a quick fix. They didn't just patch it. They did it right. So now that I see that they did it right, I come in here and see this. I take some cleaner, I clean that up. I can redo this very inexpensively myself. I can ask a dealer, how much would it cost to fix this? And I've still got a good camper. The biggest reason why is that this is an aluminum constructed camper. So the only wood in this camper is that little teeny piece of cosmetic wood that's easily fixed, easily put back together. If this was a wooden constructed camper with wooden studs instead of the metal studs, where this slide is, water damage could be detrimental, because that is a very high stress point, a very important point in this camper, and rot up there that wasn't removed, fixed. I would have to really dig into this if this was a wood constructed camper and see if it's something I wanted to buy, or at that point just go, nah, I'm going to move on to the next one. But because of the way this camper is built, because it is a Rockwood, we're okay. If it was another brand with wooden or with aluminum construction, you would still be okay with the amount of damage this has. Now it could have went on, gotten worse to where the whole roof was soft, where none of this roof is. It's all solid. It's just in these 2 little spots right here. So in a lot of cases it can still be okay, and at some point with some cases it's time to back away once you see stuff like this. But this is where you dig in a little deeper and see what went on and what you need to do to fix it. And who can you trust to do that? Who can you trust to get that information from? That's hard to say. That's why I'm trying to educate you as much as I can up front on this. If you've got a good dealer who knows what they're doing, what they're talking about, you can trust them, and you can rely on them to give you advice on this, what they see, why it's still okay and why it's not. That's just very important. And you want to watch out for the ones that just pass it off as, it's fine. Why is it fine? What happened? What do you see? And it's just hard for us to tell, because like we said, we didn't own it. We didn't do this. This wasn't while we owned this camper. We just took it in this way. Scenarios like this is a good reason why it is, nice to buy from a dealer, because you've got somebody who's in business every day to do this, to sell campers, and they want to help customers and not hurt their reputation on just selling something. If you go through an individual, their whole goal is to get rid of that camper that they don't want anymore, or know that it's got this so they can go buy a new one. And I see that happen a lot. So just be careful with that. You see something like this, it's going to take a smart consumer, a smart shopper, to address this stuff. Look for things like this, and you just kind of just absorb it and just add it to your list of stuff. Mismatched furniture, you're going to see that a lot. The camper furniture wears out, they find a couch somewhere they like better. That's not that uncommon, but note it and know it's something that you might have to fix. This is not only mismatched, but they're missing a chair. But you get in here, you assess that kind of stuff, the superficial things, and then you get back into your looking for water damage, soft floors. Walk around every bit of the floor you possibly can and look for soft spots in the floor. That is, again, typically a water damage type issue. And so even in these areas like this, just step, this is a very solid floor. Just so you know, slides will have some time a little spongy feel to it, but I can still tell this is solid wood. Look in all the corners of every camper that you look at for water damage. Sometimes you're going through 10, 15 campers, it's hard to check everything, but it's funny how water works. Usually if you check these corners, that's your best bet. So check that. What I'm doing is I'm looking for soft spots in here, and it'll just go crunch. It'll feel like a, I don't know, like a paper bag or a piece of cardboard kind of. All these corners here, the corners of the slides, same thing. It's worth, if you're about to make an investment, if you think this is the camper you want, slide in this couch, because these couches typically move. And look back there in that corner, all corners of the slides, so it's solid here, see? And now, hear the difference there? And you can really feel it, but that's water damage. And then this is extreme water damage where it's ruined. And all through here, hopefully y'all can hear that. That's what you're looking for. That's when you know that water's coming in the camper. Not a total reason to walk away. Let me tell you, if you find that there, up there, back here, then it is. But one spot, one area, realizing that it's the aluminum studs, this one here, you can even see. See the aluminum in there? This is nothing. We're gonna clean that out, take this down, put new wallpaper up here, and you're fine. But because of this aluminum stud, everything has dried out in here. We're fine. You know, it's not the end of the world, other than not that pretty to the eye right now. Just kind of walk around it and look for spots. Bathrooms are another big area where you'll find water damage from leaks and whatnot. So be very careful and check the floors in here, up under the cabinets. Look for water damage under there. You'll find it there a lot of times from the pipes. And then lastly, the front, same thing. Look into the cabinets, look in those corners, get up in there, all good. And then back here, and then down. You'll want to get down as low as you can, which this could be in the front compartments, and look in those corners too for water damage. Other than that, it's just the superficial stuff of, oh, I see, you know, this drawer is going to need to be replaced, or a screw tightened here or there. It's just stuff like that. But again, water damage is what you're looking for, like 90%. All right, now let's go over to a little older camper. Let me show you a few things on it. All right, so here we are with our other example. Our first one was only 3 years old. This camper's 10 years old. It is one of those aluminum side campers I was telling you about, so it's a little harder to tell water damage. But let me show you the roof and what my concern is there, okay? If I was able to get up here, I'd want to. If not, this stuff should show up on pictures. So if you can see here, this is your normal deterioration on Dicor. It's time to reseal this. Over here's what I'm concerned about. Well, this is bad rotted. So this roof is gone. In this entire area, y'all see that? I don't know if you can or not, hopefully you can. So we got wood and no roof. And here's why, this right here. Water has gotten down in there. So really all my intentions were only to show you that need to be redone, but it's too late. It's gotten in the roof. So that needs to be all peeled back and redone there. But all you've got here is a piece of rubber protecting you. The wood has rotted away. So the water damage goes all the way to here, and it's all because somebody didn't reseal this camper. It's 10 years old, never probably been on this roof. If you were to step here, like I said, you would go right through the roof. So I'm going to be a little careful now getting down. Anyhow, the rest of the roof is what you want to see. A nice, this has got the good stuff on it. It's not turning white on my fingers, and it's in fairly good condition. But unfortunately, that is the water damage. This is what you're looking for. And we'll talk in just a second if this is a camper I'm going to walk away from or not. Let me show you some stuff again. You're going to want to check the floor. So right now we found this on the roof. We're a little let down. Are we going to buy this thing or not? You can see it's in our price range. We like everything else about it. The fridge works, the AC works. Let me show you some things here. We talk about superficial water damage. That's what this is. But it's going to make you want to look more into what's going on. Probably a leaky pipe at some point. I can see where there's been a repair done here of some sort. So, and I call that superficial because it's not your floor, it's not the walls, it's not the ceiling. It's a style that could really be redone at some point if you wanted to. I see water stains here. This is all soft. Look at that. Look at the sponginess. So that's from that up there. And there is not only water damage, but it's still wet. This is cold to my fingers. There's mold up in there. That's full of water. Not good. Okay, at this point, we walk away from this camper. On this camper, if it was just the spot in the rear before we found the spot in the bedroom, you could talk to the dealer about pulling the roof up right there, redoing that corner, sealing it back up, and I would still say move on with that purchase. As long as that's a dealership you're comfortable in doing that with, and they seem knowledgeable and can show you they've done it in the past, I would say that's okay. And that's going to be fairly expensive on his end. Be expected to maybe contribute a little bit there, but that's all up to you and how much the camper's being sold for initially and all that. But one spot's okay. I come up here and feel that in that roof. That roof has actively got water in it. Feels like a water bed. No way. Between that, the smell in here, this thing's been ridden with water for a while. So that's what to look out for. And here's the problem with all that, and why it's so important to watch videos like this. This camper looks nice. Kelsey, what do you think? I mean, it looks nice. It's fairly clean on the inside. It looks like something you'd want to buy at a great price and take your family camping. But you would be devastated when you saw this. And most places are going to go, well, it's a used camper. I'm sorry, but that is what it is. So that's why being educated, looking for this stuff is very important. Don't let that happen to you. That's what I'm trying to help prevent. We do all we can here. Just so you know, this one will go down the road. We won't sell something like this. And hopefully you're a little more educated, a little more aware of what to look for. Not trying to scare you off of used campers. They're great deals. We sell a bunch of them. All of our trade-ins, we sell a bunch every month, and lots of people out there using them, happy with them. It's not something that comes with a warranty. Just understand that. There are warranties you can buy on some that are just a couple years old. Ours here that are 2 years old still come with our forever warranty that we have on our new campers, which is nice. Typically when you're out there buying a used camper though, there's nothing. It is a true as is where is, and that's why checking for this stuff on your own is going to protect you. But that's it on this one. Thank y'all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.